And it come up in a work performance review actually, and I said that I wanted to get improve my public speaking, and Toastmasters was suggested to me. So many people come to Toastmasters and think they don't have the ability to do public speaking at all or leadership, and they surprise themselves. And being part of Toastmasters, you get to see that every day.
And I would love to hear more about your journey within Toastmasters because you've been twice or three times abroad. Hi everyone and welcome at Central Otago Toastmasters. Today we have Lisa Coppins, and Lisa, she is a very special soul for us because she is our sponsor and she is also one of the person who started this Central Otago Toastmasters. And without her and few other key staff, we would never have had this wonderful club. So thank you so much, Lisa, for that, and welcome.
My pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for that lovely welcome.
Well, I mean, we've seen you for the first time a few weeks back when you were back from the States for Toastmasters, and I want to hear a bit more about this story because it's really exciting. But before we dive into this question, the first one I would love to ask you is when did you start your journey and what was the reason behind?
Yeah, so I started my journey in Toastmasters, I think about 2017 or 2018, something like that, about 8 years ago. And it come up in a work performance review actually. And I said that I wanted to get improve my public speaking, and Toastmasters was suggested to me. And of course, I didn't know about Toastmasters, and I was too scared to go to my own local club. But there's somebody at my work also had said the same thing, and we went together to a speechcraft course in Christchurch, and I'm in Timaru, so that was a 2 hour drive up and back on a Monday that we did for 8 weeks in a row. But it was so beneficial, and I kind of caught the Toastmasters bug after going up there and doing all of that.
Wow. So you were doing the road every time or you changed club after?
We did that speechcraft for the 8 weeks, and then we came back, and there was a few months where we didn't do anything, but I was like, oh, I want to go to the Timaru Club, and we they had a speech contest on, a humorous speech contest on, and so we decided to go to that. And yeah, we walked in that room. It was a little bit daunting actually because there was about 30 members at that club at that time, so it was very lots of hustle and bustle going on, and people around, and it was a bit like, oh, what have I done? But yes, they were all very welcoming as Toastmasters are, and yeah, I haven't looked back.
Wow, that's incredible. When you started your being in the club, how long when you started and when you started to see improvement, how long did it take you to see your communication
I
skill
think
improving? Yeah.
Yeah, I think doing that speechcraft course, I could see that I was getting better because but you build on skills as you go. So you start quite basic, and then you're trying different things, and you're trying to add some descriptive language in, or you're trying to use some body language. And so as we were doing that, I could see the benefits,
Mhm.
and yeah, that really helped. Other people also would tell me that they've noticed things. Even I just one time I was reading out something for my mum at home, and she said the way I was reading it, like I wasn't just reading it, I was adding things with my voice without even thinking about it. And I was like, oh, didn't even notice that I might be doing that now, but that was Toastmasters that helps.
Wow, so it happened quite quickly then. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And having these skills regarding work, did you see also some improvement or how was it translated in your work journey?
For my work journey, one of the things why I wanted to do this was because I wanted to go to schools and talk about safety with dogs. And I one of the things that you had to do was speak at an assembly, and that petrified me that might have to speak in an assembly because I'm like, well, that's a lot of people that I might have to speak to. Um, and yeah, one of the things I had to do for that was I had to video myself doing a speech. And honestly, the first time I did that, just all I could see was the lens staring at my face. And what happened was I forgot everything I was meant to say. And my friend who was videoing me laughed because he was like, there's like holding his camera laughing at me. And after that, I really had to work on, especially this kind of thing, like in front of a video. And now, like it doesn't worry me at all. But then that was, yeah, really something that I had to work on because it was something that always, even as a young kid, uh, as a teenager, I hated the video camera. So that's something that I've had to, yeah, work on.
Yeah, that's it's quite interesting because it's one of the questions that I had because I'm sure you have them as well when you start speaking with people and you say, I'm part of Toastmasters and public speaking, I remember I went once or I went to this place and I had the worst experience ever. So how would you respond to people? Because obviously you've had this experience and you went over it. So maybe if you want to share how, how you would respond to them and to give them a bit of, yeah, you can go over it. Bit of hope.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is, yeah, there's always something you can learn if you don't step out of your comfort zone. You you might if you just take that step. And it's a small little baby step and it's okay. You'll gradually build up to something bigger. But yeah, I think if you yeah, so many people come to Toastmasters and think they don't have the ability to do public speaking at all or leadership, and they surprise themselves. And being part of Toastmasters, you get to see that every day.
Yeah, and it's something that really amazed me when I started this journey. It's because it's really non-judgmental and also it's not only about learning how to create a speech or speak. It's all about also learning to listen, to give feedbacks. And actually, personally, the hardest thing I have is to give feedback because you need to give something negative or something to improve. But yeah, so in a way of improvement. And maybe if you want to share a bit, what was your experience when you discovered all those different tasks or roles that we are doing in Toastmasters?
Yeah, well, when I first heard about Toastmasters, I was in my 20s and I honestly thought it was toasting and you were all just having a drink, getting up, doing a toast, have a drink, sit down, and that was what it was all about. But going to an actual meeting and seeing all the roles, it's so much different than I ever thought. So even just the grammarian, like learning different words or language and trying to fit that into your speech when you're talking, that's something different and a challenge to do. And the table topics, impromptu speaking, it helps in so many everyday situations because how often are you asked a question? And with Toastmasters, I think it helps you think on your feet better because you're used to questions coming to you. So if anybody was looking for a new job or something like that, Toastmasters actually helps because it helps with you interviewing, getting interview questions because you're used to getting those questions thrown at you that you have to kind of think about. And the evaluating is yeah, such a key skill. And I think especially us New Zealanders, we don't like to be really negative to somebody or so I even see at my clubs and they're very gentle and they might say, maybe you could try. They don't want to be mean. It's like you should do this. It's definitely not like that. It's maybe, give this a go.
Yeah.
But they'll tell you all the things you were doing great. And that's also a really key skill to learn because you do have to give feedback in life to in all sorts of
Mm.
such different situations. And
Mm.
so it does help. Yeah. And you're right, listening skills as well, which I think sometimes people forget about, but we do have to do a lot of that in Toastmasters as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really astonished to see all those different roles. And yeah, it's really not only creating the speeches. And there is something also that over the weekend, I went into a conference in Melbourne for my work. And I'm not someone who is this, I don't know the name, the expression in English, but you go from one person to another. I'm definitely not that person, but I I had to do it for networking. But before, I'm this type of person. You see me in a party, I will be with the people that I know the most, and I will stay in this place, and then people are gravitating around me, and I force myself to do it differently, and it's easier and easier. And I do believe it's because of Toastmasters, even though it's still hard. And did you have this similar experience?
I've definitely had the similar experience. And kind of like Central Otago Toastmasters, I'm in Timaru and we're the only club here. So there's the closest one is definitely an hour away. So going to even things like a Toastmasters event in person. And I remember the first time I was an area director and I went to an event. I was one of the first ones there, and people were just getting their coffees and things. And the district director come and spoke to me, and I was like, "Oh, why is she speaking to me? I don't know what to say to her." So that got me kind of used to that. Actually, yeah, we do have to do that. And there is actually a project in our education program that is about networking. And so I've done that on purpose for myself to make sure that I'm getting used to going and talking to those people because I'm a bit the same. Yeah. And most Toastmasters are actually introverts, and they are those people that are not going to be and everybody else's face. They're the ones that are
Yeah.
always stepping back and not inclined to go and talk to each other. So I think, yeah, everybody's usually on about the same level playing field in the Toastmasters gathering.
Interesting. And this project, is it part of the pathway or is it different? Okay.
Yeah, part of pathways. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
cool.
think it's like might be a level 4 project. Yeah.
Maybe if you want to, I guess, maybe not too much in details, because I suppose you could spend hours talking about the pathways, but maybe for our listeners that are interested in joining Toastmasters, what would you say about the pathways?
Yeah, so Pathways is the education program that Toastmasters have. A pathway is like the name for the kind of course, if you like, and there is 6 different ones you can choose from, and some of them have more leadership kind of elements, and some have more to do if you're starting out and wanting to just focus on public speaking. 5 levels
Hmm.
uh, for each path. And it takes you about 2 years to
Wow.
complete a pathway. So, but that's on average. So it could take much longer. And I know members that are still on their same pathway and they're in year 4 or something like that. So it's definitely like a self-paced. You can do it as quick as you like, or take your time moving through it. And what I like about it is like level 1 and 2 are most the same for whatever pathway you choose. But as you go up the levels, you get to choose electives. So it means you get to choose things that will help you. For instance, so I have my own dog training business. So one of the projects is writing a blog. So that was helpful for me when I was first starting that because you would write it and your Toastmaster members would go and read it and give you feedback, and you did a speech about the process. So there's
Oh,
lots of cool projects in there that I think are so helpful for everyday life.
yeah, it sounds like it. And I would love to hear more about your journey within Toastmasters because you've been twice or three times abroad for different things. Maybe if you can tell the different roles that you've had and how it happened and what was the experiences that you've been through over the 7 or 8 years. I mean, it's not long, but you seem to have done so much.
Yeah, so I have done lots of leadership roles in Toastmasters. So I started with doing club leadership roles. That happened pretty quickly, to be honest. So I got t shoulder tapped within about 3 months of joining the
What?
club, and I have always probably been. I think there's 1 year maybe in my 8 that I haven't been a club officer. So I still do that for my own club. And as you do the roles and the club officer roles, you learn a lot more about how everything works. And I actually avoided doing the vice president of education or the president roles because I was like, oh no, that I couldn't do anything like that. That's not really something that I would be able to do. But I got in a situation where I was put in the place where no one, somebody had left, and I had to be the president. So that's how I was first ended up president. And while I was president, my area director, so the area director is the next role up beyond club. So they go and visit the clubs in the area, and there's usually about 4 or 6 of them, and give them feedback, kind of like a general evaluation of the whole
Oh,
club and how they are doing as a club.
oh, wow.
And she said to me, "Oh, I think you'd be a good area director. Have you thought about it?" And I mean, I'd vaguely thought about it, but it was seemed like a in the distance type of option for me, not a now thing. But I was like, oh, well, it's nice to be asked. Maybe I could do it. So I gave the area director role a go, and that was a huge learning curve because going to see other clubs because every Toastmasters club does things slightly differently. And it
Yeah.
meant you could also take that information and use it back at your own club, which I really liked. And so after I'd done that area director role, I had a couple of people saying, "Oh, have you thought about going any further?" And I was like, "Oh, maybe I could." So I got encouraged to try and out for the division director role. So the division director is above area, and they look after the area directors. So they might have about 4 or 6 or 7 area directors that they look after, and maybe 20 clubs are looked after underneath there or something like that. So I that was what I next did. That year was very interesting for me as well because I ended up with having 2 of my areas didn't have an area director, so I still visited those clubs even though that wasn't my role anymore. But we had a gap, so we had to kind of fill it. So yeah, that was the next thing I did. And then my last Toastmasters year, I was the club growth director. So this is an elected role, and things are a bit more serious when you get up to this kind of level. So you have to do things like an interview beforehand, kind of like you're interviewing for a job,
Wow.
and you have to be elected in. So people have to vote, give you your vote, a vote to get the role. So I was lucky, and I got voted in to be club growth director. What the club growth director does is a lot of membership. It's kind of like vice president membership in a club, but instead it's for the whole district. And so that's the South Island for us and Wellington region. And yeah, that was again such a big step up learning what goes on in there. And now I'm currently the program quality director, which is about education. It's kind of like the vice president of education in the club, but now for the district. So I'm creating and working with a team to create the club officer training materials and organizing that kind of
Wow.
thing. Yeah. But those roles mean we get the opportunity to go into training. So we get to be trained, and that means we're going overseas. So I had a trip to Anaheim, California, and then Jakarta, Indonesia that first year. And this year I've gone to Philadelphia. And actually in January we're going to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So again, and that training is so valuable because you get to connect with people in the same roles as you all around the
Mhm.
world because Toastmasters is in about 146 countries, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's amazing connecting with those people. And I connect regularly with my accountability partner, in Philadelphia. She's over in the States. So we connect and share ideas quite frequently, which is very cool. But going to those things as well, like the American trips, it's also the time when they have the international convention. And so
Mm.
they have like a big conference for everybody as well. So it's the speech winners for the international speech contest are there, and you get to go
Wow.
to different workshops, and so it's a really valuable experience. And like it's so lucky to be able to go as an amazing opportunity. The stuff we get to learn is pretty cool. Yeah.
How much do you think it has been impactful in your life, whether it's personal, professional? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely made, I think confidence is the biggest thing because I was always that kid at high school that I was so shy. People that know me, if they're still an Alex, they would understand because I was such a shy teenager and they wouldn't even expect I'd be doing anything like this at all. So that's a big thing. And oh, just all different skills that you wouldn't even think about learning. So, for instance, I'm thinking, oh, I have a dog training business, or I can create an online course. Well, I can create that course so I've got the skills through Toastmasters, and I can all about speaking in a course and create it ahead of time because I've done Toastmasters. Whereas before, I probably wouldn't have done that kind of thing. And
Mm.
I have Toastmasters members in my own club that have done things like become a celebrant, where they wouldn't have probably done that if they didn't have the speaking skills beforehand.
Where do you see yourself in, let's say, 5 years from now with all what you've learned with Toastmasters and all the opportunities?
I hope I'm in a place where I can give back to people because actually that's what I love about Toastmasters the most now is being able to give back the skills to other people and see them grow and learn. So supporting people in some of the roles I've done would
Yeah.
be what I would love to be able to do. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. You are very inspiring
Oh, thank you.
and so helpful. I remember, yeah, you really helped us so much to make the creation of the club so easy and telling me how to do the website and helping Sarah, our president, and so on, Chris. And yeah, so really grateful for that.
Oh, my pleasure. It was always fun.
What would you tell someone who wants to enroll or at least try and come to a meeting of Toastmasters, but they are unsure? What would you tell them to make them comfortable and at least try for one session?
Yeah, like I know, and most Toastmasters know how daunting it is. I would say contact the club, and even like if most clubs, if you contact it beforehand, they may be able to come and meet you outside beforehand or chat to you on the phone beforehand, just to make you feel like you feel a bit more comfortable. Knowing somebody helps, and ask a few questions before you go. Like we would all be happy. Anybody would be happy. A Toastmaster would be happy to talk to you about that before. And yeah, I definitely did that before I went to my first meeting as well because I felt a bit nervous about going. So
Yeah.
I think that really helps being able to do that. And we all understand. So, and we're all not perfect. We're all still here in Toastmasters because we're learning and growing. And so it never stops. And
Yeah.
that's why we're still here.
Is there a book, a podcast, an author, a speaker that you really love and you learned about communication or make it even better? Like, do you have any of them? Any books or any recommendation of, yeah.
Yeah, any books that I recommend. It's often at those Toastmasters conventions over in Australia, they have authors actually
Okay.
over the US that speak. And so one of the authors that spoke, he had a book called Think Smarter or Think Smarter, Talk Faster or something like that. And it was about using impromptu speaking skills. And I did buy that book because I thought it was really interesting what he was saying. Um, I can't think of any other one, any that I've watched. There is a Toastmasters podcast
Yeah.
uh, that one of the members of my club absolutely adores, and he often talks about it. And I think he's going to do his next speech on the Toastmasters podcast because he loves that so much.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, that's great. And yeah, that makes me think there are so many free resources on Toastmaster International websites. And yeah, so that's probably a good way to start.
yeah, there is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And my last question is, Lisa, is there any question that I didn't ask and you think I should have asked you?
Uh, No, I don't. I think you've asked all the questions you should have asked. Yes. I think if anybody out there is thinking about like especially as we go into the end of the year and we're starting a new year, like if you are thinking one of those things you'd like to do is get better at public speaking, be clearer with your communication, or have the opportunity to try out some leadership skills, like go and see your Toastmasters club because though that's a place, it's like a learning lab. You get to try things and we're still going to clap and say, good job. So you should give it a go. Yeah, give it a go and go along and see what it's all about.
Yes, I love that. That's amazing. It's a really good resolution to start 2026 with this. Yeah, I'm gonna improve my public speaking. And besides, let's be honest, it's one of the job that pays off the most. When you know how to speak, yeah, people will want you, and then you can ask for
That
more
is
money.
so true. Yes, that's so true.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for this time with us today. It was fantastic to learn all about your story and so inspiring. And I hope to hear more from you, maybe next year, like after your trip to Kuala Lumpur, and yeah, hearing all more stories about you. That would be fantastic. Well, have a beautiful
Thank you
day,
so much for
and
having me,